Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Conversational Witchcraft with me, Dawn, the Kitchen Witch. I want to thank you all so much for being here today. And before we get going, please just do me a quick favor. Go and hit all the buttons, subscribe button, like buttons. When you subscribe to this channel, wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching, it just really helps. It helps our numbers. It helps push this out to other folks who are interested in all the topics we talk about here. And if you love what we're doing, you can support us by hitting the support us link and help me keep bringing you great information and inspiration and conversations. And don't forget, you can learn more about me and food magic and the power of kitchen witchery by visiting me directly at cucinaaurora.com and following me on all social media at Cucina Aurora. I'm everywhere, just like our guest today, Jennie C Belle. She is a spiritual witch and the founder of Our Coven, an inclusive international and online community for witches and pagans. For over 20 years, Jennie has practiced yoga, meditation, and tarot and worked with the healing powers of crystals. Jennie, Jennie, I feel like we know each other.
I know, me too.
Right? I'm a super fan of yours and you're a super fan of mine. And
Yeah.
like we're always commenting on each other's social media, but this is the first time we're actually meeting for reals. And
Yeah.
to be fair, we've been chatting for like 20 minutes.
Right. My husband's like, "Are you nervous?" I'm like, "No, I'm excited." She feels she feels familiar to me. Like I feel like we're just gonna have a really good time.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And I did not know this about you until I read your intake form, but you're from Jersey?
I am. Yeah. I'm from what's now called Woodland Park, but used to be called West Patterson.
Okay, I know where Patterson is.
Yeah, so North New Jersey, always going to the city, which for people
Uh-huh.
outside of that area is New York City, the only city that matters.
Yes.
It's
So
the
that's
city.
yeah, the city. That right. Like when I say that here, people are like, "Oh, you're going to Boston?" And I'm like, "No, I'm going to New York."
No.
Right? I was like,
Right.
Boston's not the city. Boston's Boston,
No.
right? Are you
Right.
still in Jersey now?
No, I'm in the PNW. I'm in Southern Oregon.
Are you really?
Yeah.
I was literally just out in Portland, Oregon.
I know, and I hope you do Spirit Northwest next year because I didn't even know it was happening till it was already
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, I want to be there, but I couldn't make it
Yeah.
happen. Like it's just so last minute. And I'm like already on their emails. I'm like, I'm there next year,
Yeah.
100%. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
on my birthday, so I'm like 100%.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so fun. So yeah, it was the first year of Spirit Northwest, and those crazy girls at That Witch Life are good friends, and they were like, "Will you do this?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Any
Yeah.
excuse to go to the Pacific Northwest, right? Um, so yeah, Justin and I went out there for it, and it was awesome. Like, especially for like a first year event, like it was small but really well done, well run. The classes were well attended. Like I taught like one of the first classes on Friday, which was like the first day, and my room was full, like full room. Like everybody was engaged and excited, and the people were great. And they had a small room of vendors, which were like high quality vendors. They had a tattoo artist. I was like, son of a bitch, I would have gotten a tattoo if I had known that was happening. It was awesome. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll be able to go again next year.
I'm hopeful. I just kind of made a connection with Charlie Claire Burgess.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hey, were you at Spirit Northwest? They didn't know about it either. And I'm like, okay, maybe next year we'll meet in person. And they
Yeah.
were like, that would be amazing. So hopefully it's like a little meeting spot for all of us. Like,
It was really cool, especially because there were some folks out there like J. Allen Cross I hadn't met in person, but I
I'm a
interviewed.
fan.
He's amazing, and I interviewed him here on the show. He's one of my very first guests when I first started. So we've been kind of fangirling all over each other, and then there he was in person. I was like, oh my, like it was just. And Kanani and Hillary from That Witch Life, I had
That's
never met in person. So Courtney and I go way back, but the other two I didn't know. So it was definitely a convergence of like weirdo witches hanging out in Portland. It was really a great time. So fingers crossed. It's quite a trip for me from the East Coast,
for sure.
but fucking worth it. Like so
Yeah.
so worth it. So what brought you out there from Jersey? I mean, obviously you want to leave Jersey for the obvious
Right.
reasons. Uh,
Not to offend anybody
Not
that's
even
there.
tri-state is rough. Tri-state is rough.
It's rough.
Yeah.
It's a fast-paced life and
Yeah.
nobody's really nice.
No, nobody's nice.
No.
What
I'm not
is that?
nice either, so it's okay. Like I fit in. Like people will often be, I've never been called nice. And I'm like, well, I'm from New Jersey. And then people, oh,
I tell
okay.
I tell people I'm from New York, from Long Island originally, but now I live in New Hampshire. And
Oh
people
yeah.
look at you, they're like, you're from New York. I'm like, I was too nice to be from there, so I moved here.
Yeah,
So
don't be
like
scared.
I don't be scared of me. I'm fine. I'm okay. I left because they were mean.
Yeah.
So what brought you out there? What made you move?
Well, I actually lived in Southern California for a long time.
Oh wow.
I'm originally a school teacher. And then 2018, my nervous system was like, you're all done being a classroom teacher. Find something else. And I was like, okay, well, I've always wanted to be a writer. I'm a Gemini moon. It was like literally in the stars. So we did kind of a transition. And then while I had already made a life change, I was talking to my husband. He went on like, he was an assistant principal at the time. And he went to like some little thing in Kansas City. And like jokingly, I'm like, hey, what's Kansas City like? Like, do you think we'd vibe there? And he's like, no, it's too cold for you. I'm like, okay. But then we started going like, well, okay, where would we want to live? My daughter was not yet in middle school. I was like, this is a prime time to like move a family and
Mhm.
not have them resent us for the rest of their lives. And so we were looking in the PNW. He applied to places in Washington, applied to Oregon. He got several interviews, and we ended up here in Southern Oregon, in this little town called Ashland, which is known for like the Shakespeare Festival and it's very like, it's nothing like Portland. It tries. I'm like, oh, it's cute. You guys are trying. But one of the things they do is like, it's like a Hallmark town. We have like a
Yeah.
literal little Christmas parade with like 10 people. And then Santa is like in a building and everyone sings carols. And then Santa appears and is like, Christmas is here. It's like a Hallmark movie. It's crazy. And then it goes dark and they light the big Christmas tree. And I'm like, this is why we're here. We do like they love Halloween here.
Yeah.
There's a big Halloween parade and everybody just walks down the street. Like it's like everybody joins the parade.
It's so cool. It's
Yeah.
so cool. That's
And like
amazing.
yeah, little fairy stuff everywhere, like little fairy doors, fairy gardens, like and people really like kids and not a creepy way. Like they're like want to do nice things for children. And it's like being from New Jersey where it's like, get out of my face, being from Southern
Hmm.
California where everyone's like, people are nice in California, but they don't necessarily want to connect all the time. And it was
Hmm.
a very like different vibe. And
Yeah.
like I had to drive my kids far to school and there's no neighbors that you know. It's just like weird. And then
Yeah.
moving I'm like, everyone's so friendly. Like our neighbors invited us to use their pool. I was like,
Right. And being like from the tri-state area, you're like, why? Why
yeah,
do
what
you
do you want?
why do you want me to use your pool? You want me to watch your kids? But you want me to clean it? Like what?
What do you
Why?
want? What do you want?
What do you want? What do you want? Right? Like
Exactly.
that's hilarious. Do you find, because again, like as a transplant, like one of the things that drew us to New England was that sort of community vibe. It was, definitely the witchcraft community here, the
For
pagan
sure.
community here, which I didn't have where we grew up, where we were living when we were first married. Do you find that that is a huge difference for you from Jersey or California, that the vibe of, I don't know, I want to say acceptance of your witchcraft, or like you just feel more comfortable being who you are in that environment?
Well, we're gonna find out. So, right. I've been very like, I wouldn't say closeted, but I'm like evasive when other parents are like at soccer and like, what do you do for a living? I'm like, I do a little this, little that at home. I do wear a pentagram every day, but not everyone's paying attention. But with the book coming out and I've been canvassing our like town, like dropping off bookmarks, it's gonna be pretty clear in this small town what I do. And so I don't know. We moved here during COVID, which was rough, so it was hard to make connections. There is a very big like new age community here, and I am like try to be accepting, but I don't always vibe with some of the stuff they believe in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very different. I feel like witchcraft is very grounded, whereas
Mm.
new age is very like ungrounded sometimes. And so I kind of like if I can meet in the middle, I feel good about that. We do have, though, I was just there today, like one of the only metaphysical libraries that I know of.
Oh,
It cost,
cool.
yeah, it costs me $30 a year to be a member. It's a huge library. Plus, they do like a big free library exchange. So I can like drop off books that I know like other witches would appreciate.
Yeah.
gotten like really cool. I got like the Mother Piece Tarot there. Like I found that. It was like a big find because it's like from the 80s. It's hard to find. And just like different, I've gotten so many tarot books and like rare kind of like old books from the 70s. Old in the fact that like they're paperback. And so the fact that they like survived. Not that I think
Yeah.
the 70s is that long ago. I still think it's like early 2000s in my mind.
When people say, "Oh, that was 40 years ago," I'm like, "Oh yeah, the 60s and 70s was 40 years ago." And it
Exactly.
wasn't. It was like when
It
I
was though.
was, yeah, it was the 80s. The 80s was 40 years ago. Blech,
No.
blech, blech. So you grew up in New Jersey,
Yeah.
right? So I'm wondering if your experience of, finding the path of witchcraft, and because you do a lot of stuff that kind of would fall into that metaphysical
For sure.
bucket, right? We do yoga, we do crystals, all that stuff kind of falls into that metaphysical bucket. But you would say you're a witch or a pagan. You wouldn't
Yeah,
necessarily, like, right? Like same. Like I love my yoga, I love my crystals, but I'm definitely a witch.
for
Um,
sure.
at what point did you find this path? And on the heels of that, as an educator in a school system, how hard was it for you to be you and practice your craft and be in a school system? Because I know that's a hard thing for some people.
Oh, 100%. Well, I've lived in Southern California and New Jersey back to back. So I actually went to high school in California for 2 years, New Jersey for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Like it's very like interesting life, right? So middle school, I had this weird friend. She's a Scorpio. Like I feel like that says it all. I'm a Taurus. I love Scorpio. She was
Scorpio.
she was cool. She like dressed different. She was just like weird and cool. And one day she's like reading this book. I'm like, "What are you reading?" She's like, "It's a book on witchcraft." I was like, wait, like, what do you mean? And she's like, I'm a witch. I was like, wait, so hang on, they're real? That was the moment.
I
I was like,
love
wait,
it.
they're real? Like, I've been dressing up as a witch for Halloween every year. I'm watching The Wizard of Oz all the time. I'm watching Return to Oz all the time. Like, you're telling me, like, this is real. And then she's kind of borrowed the book. She's like, yeah, when I'm done, I'm like, okay. So then I never looked back. I was like, this is it. I was born and raised Catholic. At one point, when my black cat died, this is before I became a witch, I went to my little CCD, which for non-Catholics is your little communion class. And I told my
Hmm.
teacher I was really upset because my cat died, but I'll see him in heaven. And she's like, no, cats don't go to heaven. I was 10 years old. I had a crisis of religion. I'm like, wait a minute. I don't think I could do this anymore. It's got to be something else. And like, did my communion, like, made my first communion, but just wasn't feeling it anymore. And then that was when I started like researching. I researched everything. Like, I went to Buddhist temples with friends. I went to Jewish temples with friends. Like, I was all over the place. I'm like, just got to be something better because this is wrong.
As a
And
kid, you did those things?
yeah, and my mom has always had gay best friends. And she's always surrounded by other like queens. I'm like, she always would say a queen needs to be surrounded by other queens. That was like her little famous Leo expression. And so it was like at that time coming of age, I'm like, okay, you're telling me that these men who are like family, they're evil, they're bad,
Mm,
and my cat can't go to heaven. Well, I don't think I can do this anymore. And so
mm.
that was that. And then going to New Jersey, I had this dream about this girl. I'm like, I dreamt of this girl before we got there. Go to my English class, she's in the class. And I'm not going to be creepy and be like, hey, you're in my dream. But but I'm like, I'm watching her. I'm kind of like stalking her. I was so shy. I was like trying. She turned out to be a witch, and we became like instant best friends and had all these great adventures together. So for some reason, like I don't know if my spirit guides were like, girl, you're always meant to be a witch. They just always planted these witches in my
Yeah.
life. And then I was able to connect.
Wow. Do
Yeah.
you remember what that book was? The book that you borrowed from that girl? Do you
I
remember?
want to say it had to be a Silver Raven wolf book or wolf book. It had to be
Yeah.
like
To ride a
right.
silver broomstick.
Yes, that's exactly
Yeah.
what it was. And then
Yeah.
I went and bought Scott Cunningham's Guide to Solitary Practitioner, which
Yes.
at Borders, rest in peace.
Borders. Rest in peace, Borders. Not parts of Noble.
Yeah. And then we would just from then on save our little pocket money and be like, okay, we both want this book. I'll buy it this time. I read it. I take all the notes and I give it to you. You read it. Take so it's like we would have the books,
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it was. And that's how we did back in the day, kids before the internet. That's how we learned witchcraft. We'd buy books and swap books and write it in our
Hmm.
book of shadows. My book of
Hmm.
shadows, I don't know where anything came from. People are like, well, where did you learn that from? I'm like, a
Uh,
book?
yeah. Or like I just made shit up. Like I
Of
remember
course.
I was like, my first book was Ride a Silver Broomstick, of
Yeah.
course, right? And I had like and I think I still have it. It was like a little black journal, nothing special, right? Like just like a lined journal that was like hardcover, black, fake leather, right? And I remember bringing it with me. I had an internship in Disney World when I was 19 years old. I worked down there for like 6, 7 months. And I remember bringing that book with me and like trying to tell my roommates, my Walt Disney World roommates, I have to go outside because it's the full moon and I need to just like light this candle and sit with my little black book. And I would just sit there and I would write incantations or I would write, ritual or spell or whatever it was that was journal, just how I felt about the moon tonight. And I would just sit there and I would do that. We didn't have the internet. I didn't have the TikTok to like watch somebody else's video about how to do whatever I was going to do. I just sort of sat there and felt what I felt. And that practice came from that feeling, you know?
Which is a better way to learn, in my opinion.
I mean, I
You
there
gotta,
are
you gotta do both.
yeah, I envy those young ones coming up because they have so much information, but I also do not envy that there's so much to choose from and you don't know who to trust.
Yeah.
Like where is the information good? Are these people legit? Like you had books and friends and you would all learn together. When you got out of high school and started on your, young adult career path, what happened then? Did you and your friends go different ways? How did your witchcraft path continue from that point?
Well, I went to community college because I was saving money. And
Mm-hmm.
at the community college, there was a flyer for a pagan meetup group. And so I'm like, Mom, I'm going to do this. She's like, it's at some person's house, some man's house. I'm going with you. And like, this is funny because she was like very free range, like drinking out of the hose, free range, like never knew where I was. But this one, she's like, and I'm like, cool, yeah, come with me. As soon as he opens the door, she's like, oh, he's gay? Oh.
You're good. You're fine.
You're fine. You're fine. I'm gonna go now. And I was like, okay. So his name was Sid, and he just ran this little pagan meetup group. Half the people were in their 40s, and then there was one other younger person named Jeff, and he became like we were instant best friends. And we went to like pagan pride together, and we
Mm-hmm.
ghost hunt together. Went to pet wolves together. Like we had this whole. I'm telling you, it's like always someone sprinkled in my life. We're still friends to this day, but. Then when I became a teacher, though, I was like, I gotta go in the closet because you have to earn your tenure. And I'm like, where we
Yeah.
lived, it was in Southern California. It's a desert town. It was very rural, lots of churches, lots of, more churches and stores. You know what I mean? That kind of town.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I couldn't be me. It didn't mean that people couldn't spot it. Like I know, like another teacher was like, "Hey, you look like you read tarot cards."
What is that? Should I take that as a compliment or an insult?
Like sweating, like what? Yeah. So what? Why do you
Why
ask?
do you, but do I look like I smell like patchouli?
Yeah,
Like, would have been.
but anyway, she just wanted a reading. But it was like people would always like I always thought I was doing such a good job at being closeted. And then people would be like, do you have a spell for this? Or can you do a reading? And be like,
Mm.
what? Like, how do you know? So I guess it just
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah. So, how did you embrace that in the closet? How did you embrace it, or what we like to call the broom closet? How did you embrace your witchcraft in your solitary practice? Because now you're a very public witch, where, like you just
I
said, where
know.
I mean, you're all over social media. You're, writing books, you're teaching classes, like you're you're doing it
Realsies.
for realsies, which is scary and hard. And I think that there's a lot of crap wrapped up in that, in the broom closet mindset, right? Um, and I'll just share with you a little bit. Like I've been living my life as an open witch for ever and ever, like for a really long time, since I left my corporate job in 2012, right? Um, but my mother doesn't know that I'm a witch. I've never said those words to her.
Right.
Right now, she could turn on this podcast at any moment.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of published books that I've never told her about because she wouldn't approve.
Right.
Right. But I'm not hiding it. I just haven't said the words to her. But it took a really long time for me to be able to, like, I set up a booth of Cucina, Aurora kitchen witchery at the farmer's market. And I
Awesome.
would say, yeah. And I would be like, oh, well, it's just everything is about putting love in your food, which is not a lie.
No, it's not.
And people that don't get witchcraft resonate with that. But then you get people who are like, what are you, some kind of witch? And I'm like, yep, the end. And being okay with saying that, you know, it's difficult to reconcile that because we feel shame, because we've been programmed to feel shame around being who we are, which I don't think is just about being witches. I think it's a lot about
A lot.
being women and being othered and all of that. Like, what's your interpretation of that experience?
I being closeted was really hard because I was actually when I became a witch, I would wear my pentacle out and proud. Like I worked at New Jersey Pets and I would get like stuff like police officers be like, they're gonna have you sacrificing people. And I would be like, who's they? It's me and my best friend. Like I'm not in a cult, just like a whole thing. So I dealt with a lot of stuff all throughout high school. People would like I would have like closeted witches be like, oh hey. I am a witch too, but like I won't wear my pentacle to school because I don't want to, get harassed or whatever. But I was already in the punk scene. I was already getting harassed. You know what I mean? Like I was
Yeah.
already othered because I was in the punk scene as anyway. But yeah, once I got closeted, I closeted myself, when I became a teacher. I really did lose some connection, I'll have to say.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really on social media. And so when I like left my job in 2018, had this very big spiritual awakening and all this stuff. I got on social media and I'm like, wait a minute, it's okay to be a witch? Like there's people just like, I'm a witch, and people aren't being like, burn her. Like I was honestly in shock. And then it took me a while to get to the witchcraft. Like I was talking about meditation and mindfulness and yoga. Like, like I'm gonna ease in. I'm not gonna talk about witchcraft. So I'm gonna talk about crystals, which is the gateway to witchcraft. I'm talking about all this stuff. And then it was I have my best friend and I have a former student who's a millionaire. And he was like, all the stuff you're talking about, you do that on TikTok. He's like, I want you to go to TikTok. I really feel like and I'm like, you're a millionaire, so obviously you're business savvy. I go on there, start talking about tarot cards and this and that, and then all of a sudden I put this stupid video out about the craft. I'm not even wearing makeup. It was like not, I misspeak, and it's like I wake up and it's like 10,000 views. So I was like, what the? And then just continued. That one got like 500,000 views. And it was just like, finally, I think it's because I was being authentic. Like I had a friend be like, I can tell you're not really yourself online. Like you're not, and people can tell. Like people know when you're not being authentic and it's a turnoff and they don't want to like follow you. And so once I became like really me, and then all of a sudden it was like doors were opening and people were following and asking questions. There's like a lot more engagement and it felt like I was part of a community.
Feel like there's something intrinsically witchy about the moment when we feel or the process in which we come to be comfortable with being our authentic selves,
Yeah.
right? I think that's, although that for you specifically was about being comfortable saying out loud to the public, I'm a witch. I
Yeah.
think that is part of the witchcraft journey in being like, this is part of who I am, and I'm not ashamed of it. Right.
Yes.
Right. In fact, and I don't want to be like, oh, I'm proud and boastful about being a witch, but I am not ashamed of what I believe in. I'm not ashamed of my spiritual practices and the strength that I have in being who I am comes from the fact that I can use these spiritual practices and that I have a deep sense of self and that I know that I have worth and power because I work in those spaces in my own spiritual path. And then I can recognize those things in other people. Right.
Yes.
I think that's intrinsically witchy, whether or not you say you're a witch or you're a pagan. Being true to who you are is part of the process, right?
Yeah, I think it's about Like all spirituality leads to you being your best self, your most
Mm.
authentic self, your unmasked self. You shake off all society's nonsense and you're like, this is who I am at my core. Like, I feel a good spiritual practice leads you there. And then you go, yeah, this is who I am. And you feel comfortable in your own skin with your own self. And that's what makes, like, when people say I'm struggling with meditation, it's like, yeah, probably because you haven't sat with yourself. That's hard. That's the shadow work. That's the hard work to just sit there in silence with yourself. Like, if you don't like what you have, or you don't like what you see or what you hear, it's really uncomfortable to sit there with yourself.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, I definitely was a person growing up and definitely in my early 20s. Um, I couldn't be in a quiet space, right?
Right.
So, those people that have to have the radio on at all times or have to have the TV on in the background or have to have white noise, like, couldn't be in a quiet space, couldn't sit in a car with another person or by myself without the radio on because the sound of my own voice in my head was nothing but negativity, horrible like recordings of things that I didn't put there. They weren't mine. And I didn't realize that until I started going to therapy and started practicing my witchcraft, which I think are intrinsically linked, right?
Yeah.
Intrinsically linked. The working on yourself and the longer you do it, because you and I can sit here all day long and people can listen to this and go, oh yeah, easy for you to say, just sit with yourself. Easy for you to say, just be comfortable with yourself and just be your authentic self. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's taken me decades to be
Mhm.
able to sit here and go, I like myself. I'm a witch. Just those two sentences together, it's taken me 25 years to be able to say those things. That's part of the journey of it, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I work with a lot of beginner witches and they don't use the label. They're like, but then I tell them, well, what if you say it secretly as an affirmation?
Mm.
I'm a witch. And it's just for you. You don't need to tell your whole family that's conservative. You don't need to tell people at your work who you feel are going to judge you. Just for you to be like, I'm a magical being, I'm a witch. Like that, there's power in you hearing yourself say it, and it
Mm.
can just be for you. So yeah, like there are a lot of people closeted, and I get it. Like totally understand. I'm too far off the deep end now. I can't go back. So
Same, same. But I do think that, and I'm sure people are gonna like put comments or whatever, but I don't think that we choose the path. I think that we find the path.
100%.
And I also don't think that witchcraft is something we do. I think it's something we are. And then we just have the courage and the realization to live that. And I think me saying I'm a witch is as true and real as I am a brunette. I have brown eyes. I am of Italian descent. Like, those are facts. Those are
Hmm.
genetic facts. And there, me being a witch is as true and real as all of those things, right? Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, it sounds cheesy, but I do think it's a calling that some people get. Like, tell me why I'm questioning all this religion and the girl next to me, who I already thought was cool, has a book on witchcraft. That's no coincidence.
No.
That's like so specific, right? I
Yeah.
dream about this girl. I see her, she's a witch. I learned so much from that girl. Like, she was very intelligent. We had just so many good adventures. Like, how is that? Like, no, New Jersey's a big place. The fact that like that's the one person I was like, I need to be friends with you out of all thousand something of my
Yeah.
high school. It's you girl. Like that's guidance. Like this is what you're doing.
It's synchronicity. It's about vibrational energy and you having a certain vibe and I feel like everybody's got that, but it's the witches that see it, tune into it and take action on it. And it's
Yes,
that action that is what makes the change.
100%. And that's the magic.
That's the magic.
Yeah.
That's the magic. Okay, Jenny, let's take a break and let's hear from our amazing sponsors. And then let's come back and let's talk about your new book, which is called Spirit Crystals. I'm super jazzed. So we'll be right back with Jennie C Belle. We're back with Jennie C Belle, and we're talking all about our experiences as young witches in the tri-state area and also in California for you. I feel like we have so many shared experiences being like our first book and being the weird ones and all of those things, you know. And now you are out of the broom closet and writing fucking books, baby. Look
Yes.
at you. The new book is called Spirit Crystals. I got an advanced copy. It's very exciting. I got an advanced copy. So the subtext is discover your crystal guide for healing and empowerment. Jenny,
Yes.
what makes this crystal book different from all other crystal books out there? Because there are a lot of them, and we've
There are.
talked on a lot of crystal authors on this show. What makes yours different?
Well, it is a more minimalist approach. So the idea is after you do some meditations that are in the book, you figure out which spirit crystal you align with, and that's your crystal. And you don't really need anything but that crystal. So something we see, I guess, like with Witch Talk and Instagram, is there's like a lot of over mining. There's a lot of fake crystals. It's like everyone feels like they need all 275 crystals that that one person said you needed for this spell. It's crazy to me. It's like over the top. And like I've been working with crystals forever, but at 19 I took an actual like crystal healing class. And I was also my geology treasurer at the college, which I'm terrible at math. And I was like, my professor, I'm like, are you sure? Are you okay? Me? I'm okay. Can you give me a calculator, please? So I was doing both. I'm like learning about crystals and I'm geology, like we're digging up crystals. I found opal, garnet, mica, got to go to like a sulfur mine, got to do all this cool stuff. And so I really got into crystals. I'm an earth sign, I'm a Taurus, so it was just like inevitable. And then I kept my crystal practice to myself forever. And then, like I said, I was off the internet. And I was like not buying new crystal books. I'm like, had this one beat up copy of a dolphin book, which was like a hand stapled from the metaphysical shop that I took the class at. And I'm like, this is all I need. Like,
I'm
I don't
good.
know. I'm good. And then I took I started like getting back into like being online and like learning more stuff. And I learned about crystal skulls. And at the same time, I was actually enrolled in Kyle Gray's angel team. So I was like working with Kyle Gray, and he like randomly, I had already bought my crystal skull. He's like, like he's really into crystals too, which you don't know because he's like the angel guy. He's like, I think I'm gonna do a crystal skull class. I was like, what? I just bought one. I just got the book. Telling you synchronicity, right? And so then
Right?
I'm like, I'm gonna take this class with Kyle because everybody loves Kyle. He's such a great teacher, really great person. And take that class, and it just like affirmed a lot of stuff I was already doing with my own crystals. Like it was very like it just went along with everything. So then at that around the same time, I also learned how to open my Akashic records. I also got attuned to Reiki. So this is where my path takes like a new age, a little bit of a new age turn. So which forever, but always open to like Buddhism and whatever can help me.
Yeah.
Meditation, yoga.
Yeah.
Got more into new age stuff. Started reading more Hay House books and that kind of thing. And then I do classes on Udemy, and I was asking like in my Akashic records, what should be the next class? And they were like spirit crystals. I'm like,
You're like, what now?
excuse me, I've never heard this term. And then they gave me everything, like the guides. It's just like it's channeled. I have the recording. It's just like boom, 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 boom. Like it's this crystal, this crystal, this crystal. It's for this. It's an affirmation. Like it's tied with this. And it was just like it was the most I've ever gotten really in an Akashic Records reading. Like usually it's like, drink more water, whatever. It's like not like that. Okay. So then I'm like, okay, I'd already had a crystal class. I'm gonna make this second crystal class. Meanwhile, I'm writing my manuscript for a book on witchcraft, which is coming out in the spring, but I'm writing that. And then I give it to Llewellyn, and one of the editors is like, this is not really like something we'd publish right now. What else do you got? I'm like, well, I have this class on spirit crystals, blah blah blah. Yeah, write us a proposal on that one. I'm like, okay. So I write the proposal, and like, yeah, we want this as a book. So it was just kind of like this path,
Yeah.
and it's very different because I'm not trying to be the one dictionary. I don't list, thousands of crystals and tell you
Yeah.
what they're for. I'm trying to get you to have a relationship with one crystal. Like dive deep, Get to know the one crystal. How can it help you? How can you connect with it? What healing does it have to offer? There's spells, there's rituals, there's meditations for
Right.
you, the person that connects with that one crystal. And there's six different ones. And you can do all six, but you'll benefit from the one that you find is yours in the meditation. And the idea is that I'm giving you the healing tools specifically designed for the one you align with.
That is a really unique approach. And I appreciate that because I am not I mean I love my crystals, but I wouldn't say that I'm a crystal witch. But there's some that I do resonate with on a regular basis where I have multiple pieces of this or multiple pieces of that. And so I'm interested in the fact that you've only listed six. So
Mhm.
they all have to you have to fit into one of these six categories,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So what are the categories? And like, can you give us a little like insight into like what they say about you? Because in my work with, I do sort of the same thing with food, right?
Yeah.
Like, right? Like it's there's I call it like a food totem for lack of a better word. So I guess the
Oh, I
spirit,
love that though.
yeah,
Yeah.
like kind of like this food ingredient that you're kind of born with. This either
This is like same idea.
right, exactly. That's why I'm so intrigued by this. Like you're born with this energy, it reflects you, you
Yes.
reflect it, and it's sort of like you resonate with it on a level that you can't explain,
Exactly.
right? Um, so I'm interested in so because for me, I don't have categories when I'm talking about food in this way. It's because it's infinite, right?
Right.
And there's so many crystals. So how did you narrow it down to like just these six categories? And then like what are the cornerstones of those six categories?
Well, in the original Akashic Records reading, the reading said they can only be quartz.
Oh.
So that really narrowed it down. And they gave me in that reading five. And when I went to write the book, I was like, I feel like there's a sixth one. Like I
Mhm.
just feel like there's another one. And so I went back into the reading, the Akashic Records, and they gave me the sixth one. And they're like, this is the one. And then it all clicked. I'm like, yes, this is the one that's been missing. But basically, I have been able to through channeling is the best way. But what's interesting to me is like it sounds so out there, and I want people to understand it's fairly grounded, and I'll tell you why. So
Yes.
channeling, right? I learned that clear quartz is connected with a healed healer. Okay. Then I do all this research and I learned that clear quartz is like the number one crystal used by shamans around the world. And the healed healer is like a shaman, but I wasn't going to use that term because that's not my word, right?
Right.
And so then I'm like, okay, whoa. And then I also learned, like in the same thing, learned, okay, it's connected to Lemuria. So for people that believe in these lost lands, I believe they're an energy vibration. So you don't have to believe it was like a real island, but that vibration or that energy of Lemuria, right? And then I learned that people sell Lemurian seed crystals and they're quartz. So
Wow.
time and time again, right? Like I'm working with amethyst. Amethyst's archetype is the alchemist, and
Mm.
it's connected to ancient Egypt, right? But then I learn about how alchemy is really all about transmutation. And I had already connected with the violet flame, which is also all about transmutation. So it just kept stuff like this kept happening where I'm like, okay, at this point, like I would do the research for the book and be like, oh, well, that's already what I was told, but here's a source that says it's
Right.
also true.
Right.
Like
Here's
it's
the
not,
facts that back up what my
yeah.
messages were. Right. That had to be incredibly affirming for you.
It was because it took me, I mean, I really, like I said, I was a witch the whole time. I went through a spiritual awakening that was much more intense, where like my whole life kind of fell apart in 2018. But I made the choice to be like, I surrender.
Mm.
Like, I surrender. Just obviously something's wrong. It's falling away. I decided to read A Course in Miracles, meditate every day, and do yoga every day. And then that's when everything changed. It was like my angels and guides were like, "Okay, she's ready. Let's rip it all apart, guys, because this is not what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be doing something else." So then I did Reiki just for myself, really. I wanted to get attuned to Reiki, started working with Kyle Gray. All these things really like opened me up to be able to channel, to be able to open my Akashic records. I became a much better fortune teller. Like I still like just recently, it was the craziest reading. I was doing a reading, had nothing to do with anything that I'm about to say. And I told the woman, I'm like, I'm just going to tell you because I just tell people the weird things now. I'm like, I see you surrounded by yellow flowers. Just yellow. They're yellow flowers. They're being handed to you. They're surrounding you. They're yellow flowers. And she wrote me back. And she didn't have to, and I was grateful. My mom and I only exchanged yellow flowers. And when I did her funeral, it only had yellow flowers. And I've always thought my mom was with me. And I'm like, well, she is. Because she showed me you're surrounded in yellow flowers.
Wow.
But I wouldn't have got there without doing all the other, like trusting. We're talking about being authentic earlier.
Yeah.
I began to trust the weird message instead of just being like, no, I'm not gonna tell that person that because it's weird.
Yeah.
I don't want them to be uncomfortable, be like, what does that mean? Instead, I just tell them, and then that's the thing they usually latch on in a reading and be like, oh my God, that's my mom, or
Yeah.
that's my grandma, or that's my cat
Yeah.
that passed away. I can't believe that came through.
Yeah. I mean, it's always those for me, it's gut feelings. I would never say that I have psychic abilities or mediumship abilities, but sometimes I get gut feelings and I'll be
For
like,
sure.
I just have to say this thing, or I'll meet somebody. The perfect example is there's a friend of mine, and I met him and his now wife on their very first date. And
Oh,
they were at an event that I was doing. They came to the booth that I was working Cucina Aurora booth, and they walked in and I was like, oh, I was like, how long have you been together? And they're like, we're on our first date. I was like, no, you're not. I was like, your souls are meant to be together. You're going to come back here one day and you're going to be married. And like, and I literally had a feeling in my stomach. Right. And they literally got married last weekend.
that's amazing.
It's crazy. And again, like I feel like that trusting yourself, right? Trusting yourself. And
And
that's
trusting to say it and them not being worried about them being like, you're
right.
weird.
Right, right. And I am weird and we're all a little weird and it's fine because that authenticity is what leads you to have the courage to say,
Yeah.
I'm going to write this fucking book.
Yeah.
Right? Was there anything that really surprised you in the process of writing this and researching it besides those affirmations? Was there something you learned that you went, oh, I didn't realize that this particular crystal or this particular thing, you know?
Yeah. So one of the other crystals is rose quartz, and I had a hard time coming up with the archetype for that. Originally, it was Earth Angel. I decided to do the lover because I kept getting pulled in these different directions. But in the Akashic Records, I was given the number nine, right? Well, there's nine realms of angels. And I was That's like a strange, like very specific thing. Like I'm not good with numbers as stated earlier. So it was like very like, oh wow, okay, yeah, that totally ties. And then once I decided like the archetype's the lover, then all of these like rituals and meditations like just came flooding through. Like this book,
Right,
it wrote itself. I wrote very fast. It was like a very quick, like I wasn't like hemming and hawing, what do I put here? It was just like flowing.
right.
Um, and yeah, that was one example. I was like, oh, there's nine realms of angels. Of course. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, duh, right? Kind of a thing.
Wow. Wow. Is there one of these crystals and these archetypes that is your spirit crystal that you would share with us?
Yes, it is clear quartz. I am the healed healer. I could write like a whole book on just that, but that forever has been my favorite crystal. And when I was writing the book, I went through and did all my meditations. I'm like, I gotta do them like, too. And yeah, for sure, it was clear quartz. And it was like a funny meditation because it's like the guide in it's like you already knew. I'm like, I know, I just had to make sure. Like, just gotta, just gotta
That
show me.
that's funny, right? Because you said right before we hit the record button that you used my oracle deck today before this, and the card you got was T, which is about trusting your intuition. Isn't
And
that
and connected to the third eye, which the clear quartz is also connected with the third eye. So,
right?
yeah.
Right, right. Friggin' amazing. Jenny, this book is incredible. And again, it's such a cool new take on something I feel like crystals have been done to death,
For
you
sure.
know, and there's not a lot of differentiation in crystal books out there. Most of them are reference books, which is
Yes.
great. You should have a reference book if you want to work with crystals. Have a reference book, and some of my favorites are Nicholas Pearson. You know, his
Love him.
books are just amazing, and he's just a great person. And so like if you were like want to just have that quick reference, definitely go to him. But something like this gives you an intimacy
Yes.
with the energy of these stones, and allows you, like you said, to create a relationship. What's something that someone could do right now today if they wanted to create a deeper relationship with their favorite? Like, let's say they have a favorite stone that isn't one of these. Is
Right.
there something that they could do? If I love tiger's eye, I have an affinity for tiger's eye. It's something that I have a bunch of. It's something that I is really comfortable for me. Is there something I could do right out of the gate that would help me deepen my relationship with that stone?
Yeah, so something that I talk about in the book and just a big proponent of is like waking up the crystal,
Mm,
like activating it, right? Not, I don't believe in programming. I don't like that term. Um, Definitely feel like all of our plants and our animals and our crystals, all of those are allies or friends. They're not to be like used. They're to
yeah.
be spoken to kindly, right? Like when I use herbs, I'm like, thank you so much, chamomile. Like, thank you so much. It's like I want to respect that plant. And it's the same for crystals. They're alive. Like people don't realize that, but they change, right? We learned the rock cycle in elementary school. So something I do and recommend is you want to make sure you cleanse and clean all your crystals. They touch a lot of hands before they get to you. And sometimes, like the mining process, I've been to mines where they explode stuff. It's traumatic. Like
Yeah.
sometimes crystals don't want to be ripped from the ground. Like I wouldn't want to be. So give it a cleanse, like, wash it with water if you can get in the water, like tiger's eye totally. A little soap and water. I would bring it outside. I'd put it in the sunshine for a moment. And I'd be like, thank you to the sunshine for cleansing this crystal of anything that is no longer serving it, anything that's not my energy. And then I would take that crystal and put it on my heart space and be like, hey, Tiger's Eye, like, I want to connect with you. Like, I honor you. I'm drawn to you. I respect you. I thank you for being in my life. Let's connect. I'm open to listening. I'm open to your guidance.
Mm,
Talk to me, show me the way, show me dreams, show me symbols, however you like are learning, right? It could be gut feeling. Help me with my gut feeling. Like, I just feel a connection to you and I'm ready for you to help me and be my friend and my ally. And then I like to keep them with me. Like keep them on your bedside table, put them in your pillowcase, bring them in the car, put them around the house. Like I don't think they like to be in the dark. That's just personal. Like they don't want to be shoved in a drawer. They want to be like out in the sun. They want to be seen. They like to be with you. I have a crystal skull with me. I always take her with me to podcasts and stuff. It's a relationship, just like we have with plants. Like you talk to herbalists, herbalists talk about plants like they're people. And
absolutely.
I feel it's the same with crystals.
Absolutely. I love that so much. I love the idea of, I think we often, as witches that work with crystals, we do cleanse them, but we're like, oh, I'm going to cleanse my crystals. I'm going to put them out in the sunshine for an hour. I bring them in. Now I'm going to put them. Oh, it's full moon. I put my crystals need to go in full moon for in the full moonlight. Okay, tonight. Okay. Now I put them in, and I'm just going to put them back where they belong. But that laying the crystal on the heart center,
Yeah.
um, I think that's really, and then like listening, shut the fuck up for a minute and listen, right? Like just take a breath, connect with it. And maybe it doesn't have anything to say to you right now, but you might, this has been my experience. You might have a crystal in your pocket and kind of forget it's there. And then you're doing something, going about your day. And then to point you in the right direction, you might all of a sudden become aware of it again. Right.
Exactly.
I mean, maybe I should be paying attention. What's going on around me? Oh, like that again, back to that synchronicity. Very cool stuff, Jenny. Very cool stuff. And I'm
Thanks.
so glad we got to spend some time together today, getting to know each other and learning about you and talking about crystals. And tell us all where we can follow you and find your book.
Okay, yeah. So you can find my book anywhere you buy a book. And special points if you have a local bookstore and you go there and you ask them to carry my book because that helps me, it helps you, it helps them. Like always do your local bookshop if you have one, if you're fortunate enough to have one. You can find me at jenniecbelle.com. That's got all of my info. That's gonna point you in all the different social medias and my book. You can find my book on there too. But I'm like a bookstore girl. We talked about borders. Like I love a bookshop and I want to see my book at other people's bookshops. So that's kind of my mission is like, please request it
Yeah,
and then tag me in a social media picture. Even if you don't buy it, like just go request it and be like, yeah, I want it. And then it's okay if you don't, because I just want to see it there. Someone will want it.
absolutely. Absolutely. You can do that at your local libraries too. You can go in and you
Yes.
can request they bring in a book. and then they will keep it on the shelf, which is really cool because then
Yeah,
it's accessible to everybody. Jennie C Belle. Yeah, she's all over social media, and her TikTok's awesome.
thank
So
you.
follow her on TikTok because she's the best. You're pretty funny too. Like I'm just saying,
I try,
you're
but I
pretty
try not to be too funny
right
because
because you can't be too
I tend
funny.
to be too funny sometimes.
Okay, last question, Jennie.
Yes.
If you could have me cook you one magical meal, what would it be and why?
Okay. So I'm also Italian, and
Mm-hmm.
my grandfather, he was like he'd never cooked. Grandpa Sal, like he was like, I don't cook. But the one thing he would cook was eggplant parmesan. My grandma made everything else, but that was like his one thing. And so I like still to this day, I like it hot. I like it cold on a sandwich the next day. Like eggplant parm, we gotta follow though with a cannoli because that's my favorite dessert.
Hell yeah, cannoli. Thank you very much.
And
I
it's
don't think,
plural, guys. It's cannoli is plural. Like
yeah,
there's only like
multiple.
cannolis. Don't say cannolis.
Don't
Don't
say
do that.
cannolis. Don't say cannolis. Also, don't say manicotti.
Yeah.
It's manicotti.
Manicotti.
Manicotti. It's manicotti. Eggplant parm is one of my favorite things, and my husband does
Yes.
not care for it. So I don't generally make it. And
That's
but a good eggplant parm with
yes.
really, really, really crispy eggplant and lots of cheese and it
Mm.
cold for breakfast.
Okay, yeah, I'm down because I would do cold
Yes.
for a sandwich on a like a
Cold,
hoagie roll, like a
just
real roll.
right out of the container, right out of the pan, right?
Delish.
Jennie C Belle, thank you so much for being here. You are absolutely fucking delightful. Until next time, everyone, I wish you so many blessings and so much gratitude. Thank you so much, guys.